Maya's life looks pristine, a manicured house, polite neighbors, and a husband, Ethan, who is charming enough to fool everyone but her instincts. She feels the growing distance like static in the air, words too polished, smiles too rehearsed. At dinner parties, they perform the perfect marriage. Afterward, silence settles like dust. Maya's narrative voice reveals the first fracture, her unease that she's living in a photograph rather than a life. She begins to notice small anomalies, phone calls he takes outside, text messages he hides behind casual jokes. The scene ends with Maya staring at their wedding photo, her reflection split in the glass, two Mayas, the believer and the observer. A stranger's perfume lingers on Ethan's shirt, expensive, floral, unfamiliar. Maya asks casually, "New client," and Ethan lies easily. She watches his mouth form the lie and feels a cold thrill at how good he's become at it. That night, while folding laundry, she begins cataloging inconsistencies, dates, excuses, changed passwords. The next morning, she performs normalcy flawlessly, but in her mind, she's already documenting his deceit like a crime investigator. The theme of performance begins. Maya's home is no longer her comfort zone, it's a stage. She resolves to collect evidence, not tears. Maya buys a small notebook she labels, "The Truth." Inside, she records Ethan's absences, tone of voice, clothing, even the music he plays when he drives away. The act is part obsession, part therapy. Through her entries, the reader senses her intellect sharpening, her grief calcifies into analysis. One night, she hides in her study, listening to his phone conversation through a cracked door. The name, Lana, floats through the air like poison. Maya doesn't cry, she writes it down. The scene closes with her whispering to herself, "I'm not crazy." The thrill of purpose replaces despair. Maya plans her own small experiment, her birthday dinner. She pretends not to care if he forgets, he promises he won't. As the evening unfolds, the candles burn down untouched. He never shows. She calls once, twice, voicemail. The cake hardens in the fridge. The symbolism is clear, the love she nurtured has expired. She eats one spoonful of frosting and tastes nothing. When Ethan finally returns, he's full of practiced apologies. She doesn't argue, instead, she studies his guilt, memorizing the rhythm of a liar's heartbeat. It's the night she stops being a wife and starts being an observer. Tara, Maya's outspoken friend, notices the tension. Over coffee, she hesitates before saying, "I saw Ethan last week." He wasn't alone. Maya freezes but keeps her voice even. Tara's words confirm what Maya already knows but never voiced. She thanks her calmly, hiding her shaking hands. Later, Maya sits in her car, staring at her reflection in the rearview mirror, the tremor in her jawline, the fury in her eyes. She decides that if her marriage is a performance, then she'll become the better actor. Revenge begins not with rage, but rehearsal. Maya waits for the perfect chance. When Ethan showers, she unlocks his phone. He's careless, predictable. The message thread with Lana is a gallery of betrayal, pet names, hotel receipts, inside jokes. Each text lands like a bullet, but Maya reads them clinically, detached. She forwards them all to a secret email. As she scrolls, she notices something else, hints that Lana doesn't know he's married. The power shifts. Maya realizes she's not the only one deceived. She's now the only one who knows everything. The seed of her revenge plan is planted in that quiet moment of terrible clarity. Maya begins crafting a plan not of physical harm, but psychological destruction. She will make Ethan's lies collapse in public. Using her skills as a marketing coordinator, she begins to design the perfect, accidental, reveal, an email leak, a photo drop, a timed post. She builds a digital web, each thread leading to a single moment of exposure. The idea both terrifies and exhilarates her. She's creating not chaos, but justice disguised as coincidence. Her calm precision mirrors Ethan's earlier deception. She's becoming the reflection of his own cruelty. Maya plays her part perfectly. She laughs at his jokes, sends him texts that sound trusting. Ethan relaxes, unaware that every word he says now contributes to his undoing. Maya collects photos, documents, audio clips, and even schedules their anniversary trip, the setting she'll use for her superglue moment, a metaphorical binding of his lies to his reputation. Meanwhile, guilt flickers like static. Is she crossing a line? She suppresses it. Revenge, she tells herself, isn't cruelty. It's equilibrium. The more Maya plans, the more she notices herself changing. Her once steady hands shake when she lies, yet her lies come easily. She begins to dream about fire, things being peeled apart, masks burning. Her therapist, a side character introduced subtly, asks, "Do you still love him?" Maya's answer is a whisper, "I love the silence after he lies." The line captures her descent into moral ambiguity. She's not only building a trap for Ethan, she's reconstructing her identity from the shards of deceit. The setup is complete. Maya's digital leak is scheduled, her evidence backed up, her false smiles perfected. She looks at Ethan sleeping beside her, and for a brief moment, she feels pity, not for what he's done, but for what's about to happen. She realizes revenge isn't about hate, it's about finality. The last line of part 1 marks her transformation. He thought I'd never leave him. I won't. But he'll wish I had. The act of revenge is no longer hypothetical, it's inevitable. Maya creates a false persona online, an anonymous source who will appear to accidentally leak information about Ethan's affair. She builds fake social profiles, plants subtle hints in business circles, and manipulates metadata so the discovery looks organic. Every click becomes a chess move. The thrill of control intoxicates her. She starts to think in algorithms, not emotions. The chapter ends with her saving a folder titled Truth Release. Using a hidden account, Maya befriends Lana, the mistress, under a fabricated name. She plays the role of a sympathetic stranger, listening to Lana vent about her amazing new man. Maya records every detail, dates, hotels, gifts, to cross-reference with Ethan's lies. For the first time, she feels compassion for Lana, realizing they are both victims of the same deception. The compassion doesn't soften her resolve, it sharpens it. Maya deliberately feeds Ethan small lies, about errands, schedules, or new clients, to see how he reacts. Each time he repeats her fabrications to Lana, Maya confirms her surveillance is working. The psychological tension heightens, the house becomes a lab experiment. Ethan feels confident again, believing Maya is too naive to suspect anything. Maya feels omnipotent, but the constant duplicity begins to fray her nerves. Nightmares plague Maya, mirrors cracking, phones buzzing endlessly, her own face distorted on news screens. Sleep deprivation blurs reality. She keeps a recorder beside her bed to capture her thoughts at 3 a.m. Later, listening back, she hardly recognizes her voice, calm, calculating, eerily detached. The outline closes with her realization that her obsession is consuming her as completely as his affair consumed him. At work, Maya channels her turmoil into brilliance. Her marketing pitches become sharper, darker, full of truth-as-weapon metaphors. Co-workers praise her creativity, unaware that each campaign is a rehearsal for the public exposure she's planning. Meanwhile, Ethan boasts about his perfect wife to clients, still blind to her transformation. The duality between her private rage and public grace defines the new Maya. Tara notices the change. She asks if Maya is all right, worried about the sleepless eyes and cryptic remarks. Maya dismisses her concern but begins pushing friends away. Secrecy feels safer. In a key scene, Tara warns her, revenge eats both sides. Maya smiles faintly, then I'll make sure it finishes his side first. It's the moment she consciously chooses retribution over reconciliation. Maya sends Ethan an anonymous message from his own company's email, a fabricated inquiry that tempts him to reply carelessly. When he does, She traces the response to his private device, capturing digital proof that ties his business reputation to his personal deceit. She smiles, satisfied. Exposure will ruin not just his marriage but his carefully built image of success. A rare pang of guilt hits when she sees Ethan helping a neighbor's child after an accident, a glimpse of the man she once loved. For a heartbeat, she wonders if she's gone too far. But later that night, another lie slips effortlessly from his mouth, killing her hesitation. She records the lie on her phone, labeling it "Reminder." Mercy is not in the plan anymore. Lana confides to her online friend, Maya, that Ethan sometimes disappears for weekends, claiming corporate retreats. The dates match times he's lied to Maya about family visits. Maya uses the information to compose a detailed dossier, every contradiction aligned, every date matching, a puzzle of deceit ready to be unveiled. For the first time, she feels anticipation rather than pain when she thinks of him. Maya sets a date for the exposure, their wedding anniversary, symbolic and cruelly poetic. She schedules posts, emails, and timed messages to detonate simultaneously, ensuring Ethan's two worlds collide in real time. The night before, she rehearses her alibi, dresses the house in celebration, and practices her calm expression. The final line, "Tomorrow, the truth will need no witness, it will scream on its own." Maya wakes early, a calm surface over churning thought. Everything is ready, the scheduled leaks, the pre-written posts, the hidden backups. She moves through her morning routine as if in trance, watching Ethan eat breakfast across from her, unaware of the clock counting down. Each sound, the scrape of a spoon, the closing door, feels amplified, like the world holding its breath before impact. At exactly 9 a.m., Maya's digital storm begins. Screens across the office flash with the first leaked photo and fragments of messages. Within minutes, whispers spiral through the company halls. Ethan's phone vibrates non-stop. He looks confused, then pale. Maya receives the same group email, by accident, pretending to discover it alongside everyone else. The symmetry of his panic feels almost holy. Ethan vanishes into his office, locking the door. Outside, colleagues exchange looks, curiosity mixed with quiet judgment. Maya walks past with a coffee, her expression unreadable. The suspense lies not in the noise but in the sudden hush. Reputations collapsing make almost no sound. She deletes the original leak from her device, ensuring there's no path back to her. Lana calls Ethan in hysteria. The call goes to voicemail, and her frantic voice fills the room while Maya listens from the doorway. "How could you lie to me?" Lana sobs. The voicemail ends with static, the sound of two illusions dying at once. Ethan smashes his phone against the wall. Maya murmurs, "You should be careful with fragile things," and walks away before he can reply. By afternoon, Ethan's boss calls an emergency meeting. Evidence of misconduct has reached clients. Faces turn toward Ethan. The same charm that once dazzled them now looks like manipulation. He stammers through half-truths, each word tightening the noose. Maya observes from the back row, detached but trembling inside. Victory tastes metallic. News of the scandal spreads beyond the office. Online forums, local journalists, and anonymous accounts amplify the leak. The firefighters of public opinion swarm in, everyone eager to extinguish his image. The metaphorical pulling apart begins, every lie separated, every secret exposed to daylight. Ethan's name trends for the wrong reasons. Maya watches the blaze she built and wonders if it will stop where she planned. Ethan returns home in silence, eyes hollow. He asks, "Did you know?" And Maya answers, "Everyone knows now." Their conversation is calm but poisonous. There's nothing left to hide behind. The house feels smaller, the air heavier. Maya realizes revenge doesn't end with revelation, it lingers like smoke. She sleeps in the guest room that night, unable to decide whether she feels free or empty. Friends withdraw, neighbors whisper. Tara confronts Maya privately, suspecting her involvement. Maya denies it, but her composure betrays her. "You wanted justice," Tara says, but you built a guillotine. The line lands like prophecy. Maya begins to see the collateral damage: employees fired, Lana hospitalized from stress, investors pulling out. The web has burned wider than she intended. Ethan finally breaks. He begs Maya for honesty, sensing her hidden hand. She doesn't confirm or deny, only says, truth doesn't need authorship. He confesses anyway, to the affair, to the lies, to everything, thinking confession will cleanse him. Instead, it solidifies the ruin. The public sees his admission as proof. The private world sees Maya's cold eyes and wonders who truly won. The next morning, Maya walks through the wreckage, a marriage reduced to boxes and silence. The plan succeeded perfectly, yet her reflection looks unfamiliar, eyes sharper, smile gone. She realizes revenge doesn't close a story, it opens another one, the one where she must live with herself. The section ends on the line, I thought I glued his lies together, instead, I fused myself to them. The house is half empty, half museum. Reporters linger outside, the world treats their lives as a scandal to dissect. Maya keeps to the shadows, deleting accounts, erasing traces. The quiet is no relief, it hums with anxiety. She realizes she has achieved what she wanted, yet feels displaced from her own story. Online commentary distorts everything. Strangers invent theories, memes, moral judgments. Maya reads them obsessively, watching herself become a character in other people's narratives. The loss of control terrifies her more than the original betrayal. Lana releases a calm, heartfelt public message claiming she never knew Ethan was married. Sympathy shifts toward her. Maya becomes the vengeful wife. The inversion of roles shakes her sense of justice. Revenge, she sees, has no narrator, only competing truths. Maya revisits her therapist, Dr. Ree, who urges her to stop following the news cycle. Closure isn't silence, he says, it's acceptance. Maya leaves unconvinced but haunted by his words. She wonders if she's addicted not to vengeance but to vigilance. Friends drift away, unsure which version of the story to believe. Tara moves overseas for work, ending their friendship with a short text, take care of yourself. Maya rereads it daily. The absence of an audience feels heavier than judgment. Ethan loses his position and reputation. He starts drinking, sending late-night apologies Maya never answers. She deletes each one but counts them like trophies. The satisfaction is fading, the routine remains. Maya begins recording audio diaries, trying to narrate the story honestly. As she speaks, contradictions appear, moments she enjoyed the deception, flashes of empathy for Ethan, pride in her precision. Listening back, her own voice sounds foreign, colder. A journalist contacts Maya for her side. She almost refuses, then agrees, half wanting control, half craving validation. During the interview, she realizes the reporter isn't interested in truth but in spectacle. Maya ends the meeting abruptly, sensing how easily narratives consume people. One night she catches her reflection in a darkened window and mistakes it for someone watching her. The hallucination passes, but the fear stays. Maybe exposure never ends, maybe she has become the watcher and the watched. She begins covering mirrors with sheets. Maya writes Ethan a letter she never sends. In it, she admits she orchestrated everything and that the revenge didn't free her. She hides the letter inside her notebook labeled The Truth. Final line, truth was never justice, it was only light, and light burns. Maya moves to a smaller apartment to escape the house's memories, but the city hum outside sounds like whispers of gossip. Every conversation she overhears seems to mention her name. Whether real or imagined, the scrutiny drives her further inward. She begins wearing headphones everywhere, trying to silence the phantom audience. An unsigned email arrives. You think you're invisible? It could be spam, or someone who knows. Panic ripples through her. She can't decide if Ethan, Lana, or an internet stranger sent it. The uncertainty becomes more painful than accusation. Insomnia returns. She dreams of doors that won't close and lights that won't turn off. Each dream ends with her reflection laughing. She starts sleeping on the floor beside her desk, notebooks scattered like evidence. Daylight brings no relief. She mistakes exhaustion for clarity. She sees Ethan by chance outside a grocery store, thinner, unshaven, clutching cheap wine. They lock eyes but don't speak. His downfall no longer feels victorious, only tragic. When he stumbles away, she feels the first genuine pang of pity. A private investigator contacts her, claiming to be compiling a documentary about digital revenge. His polite questions unsettle her. He knows too much detail. She ends the call but starts checking her locks twice. The hunter begins to feel hunted. She reopens the truth notebook. The careful handwriting looks foreign now, obsessive. She adds a final page titled Collateral, listing everyone hurt by her plan: Ethan, Lana, co-workers, herself. She realizes the list has no end. Her therapist warns that guilt has become a second identity. You keep collecting proof instead of peace, he says. He suggests medication. She refuses, insisting she must finish the story. The phrase alarms him. For the first time, she scares someone intentionally. News surfaces online. A publisher is negotiating rights to Lana's story. Maya feels betrayed again, her narrative being rewritten without her. She contemplates revealing herself publicly to reclaim authorship, then realizes exposure is an addiction she can't afford. Unable to separate memory from imagination, Maya spends a night tearing down newspaper clippings and deleting files. When she finally stops, the room is bare. The silence is deafening, but inside it, a small calm appears. Maybe destruction is the first step to release. She records a private video confession, everything she did, everything she lost, and stores it on a flash drive labeled Endgame. She plans to destroy it but can't. The final image of the chapter, her finger hovering over the delete key, trembling, undecided. At night, Maya hears faint keystrokes from her computer, though it's turned off. When she checks, an old file named Truth Release, Recovered, has appeared on her desktop. She can't tell whether it's a glitch or someone restoring what she deleted. The sense that the past has its own hands begins to grow. A new social media account appears using her old photos and phrases. Posts mimic her voice, tagging journalists and hinting at hidden chapters. Maya tries reporting it, but every morning it returns with fresh posts. She starts to believe the internet itself has learned to impersonate her conscience. Ethan turns up at her apartment, sober and eerily calm. He says only, someone's rewriting the story again. They talk without anger for the first time. When he leaves, she realizes she can't tell if he's warning her or accusing her. Either way, he's part of the haunting now. Her phone rings from her own number. The voice on the other end repeats lines from her confession video. Maya smashes the phone and buys a new one, but the call history transfers itself automatically through the cloud. The modern world gives ghosts infinite bandwidth. Her therapist cancels sessions without explanation. His office is emptied overnight. A single note on the door reads, "Confession requires witness." She can't tell if it's a warning or a message meant for her alone. A new tenant in her building mistakes her for the woman from the story. He recounts online rumors in detail she's never published. His casual tone chills her. Her private guilt has become neighborhood folklore. She begins avoiding daylight corridors. When she finally uncovers the mirrors she'd hidden, her reflection lags half a second behind her movements. She tests it repeatedly until sunrise. Whether exhaustion or breakdown, the image feels like judgment, her own face delayed in disbelief. After weeks missing, the truth notebook arrives in the mail, no return address. Inside, new pages have been added in handwriting almost, but not quite, hers. Each entry describes events a day before they happen. She stops reading after page 3, afraid to confirm prophecy. Dozens of strangers send her messages thanking her for exposing corruption. None mention Ethan. The context has mutated into an urban legend. Her private act of vengeance has evolved into a myth about moral crusade. She sees how easily truth metastasizes into ideology. Overwhelmed, Maya buys a one-way train ticket under an alias. As she waits on the platform, an announcement echoes her full name over the speakers, something only the ticketing system could know. She boards anyway, heart racing, convinced that anonymity is no longer possible. Maya rides north through endless fog. The rhythmic clatter of the train sounds like someone whispering her name. She invents a new identity, Elena Gray, and rehearses her backstory in the reflection of the window. For a few hours she believes in her disguise, until a child in the next seat asks, "Aren't you the lady from the internet?" She rents a small room above a laundromat in a seaside town. The air smells of detergent and salt. She takes menial work filing paperwork for a charity. Anonymity feels like penance. She deletes every online account, but news alerts still find her. Keywords from her past push through firewalls like weeds through pavement. A coworker, Tomas, notices her isolation and offers friendship. His calm patience unsettles her, too genuine, too trusting. She wants to believe in ordinary kindness, but every question he asks sounds like research. She begins checking his ID badge when he isn't looking. A literal storm hits the coast. Power fails for a night. Maya lights candles and writes in a new notebook, trying to tell the story without judgment. When power returns, she discovers the file uploaded automatically to cloud storage she thought deleted. The world, it seems, has memorized her. Old articles about her case reappear on trending pages with new dates. Comments debate whether she's alive. The resurrection of the story erases her months of silence. She realizes that obscurity isn't opposite to fame, it's another stage of it. She follows Tomas one evening, suspecting he's a journalist. Instead, she finds him visiting a rehab center. He's helping a sibling recover from addiction. Her guilt deepens. She sees how easily her paranoia converts compassion into threat. She apologizes, but he never asks for what. A podcast releases a series on digital justice. The narrator's voice sounds unmistakably like Ethan's. Maya listens through the night, each episode reframing events, naming no one but describing everything. His tone is calm, almost forgiving. It terrifies her more than hatred would. She discovers that a public digital archive now hosts copies of every file once leaked, immutable, decentralized. The permanence feels cosmic, no apology, no deletion possible. She stands before the glowing screens and whispers, "Then let it remember me correctly," though she knows it never will. A handwritten letter arrives, forwarded from her old address. Lana writes that she has rebuilt her life and found peace. She thanks Maya for ending the lie, not realizing how broken the Avenger became. Maya cries for the first time in months, unsure whether from envy or relief. Maya packs again, considering another move inland. At dawn she walks the pier, watching gulls circle over gray water. For a moment she imagines stepping forward and letting the sea erase her digital shadow. Instead she turns back. Choosing to live means choosing to remember. Weeks of quiet bring no peace. Maya realizes running has become another form of hiding. She buys a cheap return ticket to the city she fled, determined to face the wreckage directly. The decision feels less like courage and more like gravity pulling her home. The skyline looks unchanged, but billboards flash new slogans quoting her old leak. Her private language has entered advertising. She senses how capitalism feeds on confession. The familiarity is nauseating yet magnetic. Her anonymity disintegrates the moment she steps off the train. She visits the house she once shared with Ethan. A young couple lives there now. They've repainted the walls, erased every trace. Standing on the sidewalk, Maya realizes she's haunting her own past like an uninvited ghost. Closure, she sees, doesn't live in places. Tara agrees to coffee. The reunion is cautious but kind. Tara admits she always suspected Maya's role yet never exposed her. "You were already punishing yourself," she says. For the first time, Maya hears compassion without pity. The moment hints at a possible redemption. Maya confronts Ethan at a small radio studio. He confirms he's behind the podcast, claiming he's trying to own his mistakes. His calm unnerves her. he's achieved the reinvention she can't. She demands he stop using the story. He replies, "It isn't ours anymore." The truth feels confiscated. A listener recognizes her voice outside the studio and records their argument. The clip spreads online, reigniting debate. Maya watches strangers dissect the encounter in real time. She accepts that narrative control is permanently lost, only her response remains within reach. Instead of hiding, she releases a single statement: "Everything you heard is true. I'm still learning what that means." The plainness disarms the audience. Some praise her honesty, others call it manipulation. For Maya, the statement is neither confession nor defense, just surrender to fact. Her therapist contacts her again, explaining he left because he became part of the media noise. They meet in a quiet park. He asks, "If the world forgets tomorrow, who would you be?" She can't answer yet, but the question plants a seed for genuine healing. Maya travels to the digital records office maintaining the preserved leak. She requests her own file and signs it out under supervision. Reading the material that once empowered her now feels like examining an artifact from someone else's crime. She hands it back without copies. That night she turns off every device, deletes accounts, and burns the leftover notebooks. For the first time she isn't erasing evidence, she's relinquishing control. The final image, her window open to the city noise, unfiltered, unrecorded. Silence, finally, as an act of truth, Maya rents a small studio overlooking a neglected park. The walls are bare, the silence comfortable. She buys no television, only a plant that wilts then revives under her care. The plant becomes her metaphor. Recovery is not about constant growth, but survival between droughts. She learns to cook again, burns the first few attempts, and laughs. Ordinary failures feel liberating, mistakes that don't trend or go viral. The act of living without witness becomes her quiet rebellion against a world obsessed with spectatorship. She accepts an administrative job at a library. Cataloging old, forgotten books feels like a moral exercise, each record proof that obscurity can be peaceful. When patrons ask her name, she hesitates, then says simply, "Maya." The truth feels safe in small spaces again. One afternoon she helps an elderly patron struggling with the self-checkout system. His gratitude is simple and genuine. She realizes she can do good without broadcasting it. For the first time since her revenge, she feels useful without moral debt attached. A false fire alarm empties the building. Sirens trigger flashbacks, firefighters, the scandal, Ethan's humiliation. She freezes, trembling, but stays grounded by repeating her therapist's breathing exercise. The panic passes. Survival, she learns, is measured in recovered breaths. Tomas finds her through mutual library contacts and writes a brief email, "I hope you found peace." She debates replying, then types only, "Still looking, but closer." The exchange is tender, unromantic, two wounded people acknowledging parallel paths toward normalcy. Maya volunteers at a local garden, tending neglected soil. The tactile work quiets her thoughts. Dirt under her fingernails feels more real than digital residue. The symbolism isn't lost on her, replanting, restoring, forgiving what has been uprooted. She runs into Ethan at a bookstore. He looks older, gentler, almost tired of being defined by the past. They exchange polite words. When he leaves, she feels neither hatred nor longing, only distance, the neutral peace that follows acceptance. Online, new scandals replace hers. Algorithms move on. Her story is reduced to a trivia footnote in Internet History videos. The relief is bittersweet, freedom through irrelevance. She finally understands that obscurity is not erasure, it's mercy. Maya writes a long letter addressed to the woman she was at the start. She does not justify, condemn, or excuse, only thanks her for surviving. She folds it into a notebook labeled "The End of Noise." The chapter closes with quiet contentment, the first true stillness in years. A full year passes since her final public statement. Maya notes the date not with guilt but gratitude. She lights a single candle, not as penance but as ritual, honoring survival rather than sorrow. The sound of rain against glass feels like applause from an unseen world. Doctor Ree retires and gives Maya her session notes. Reading them, she discovers entries about his own doubts, his fear that healing her meant condoning revenge. It comforts her to see his humanity, even guides question their direction. Healing, she realizes, is shared uncertainty. Maya visits Lana in another city. They talk honestly for the first time. Lana has forgiven Ethan, remarried, and found quiet joy. She hugs Maya, whispering, "You set me free, even if you broke yourself to do it." The words release both women into separate peace. The library launches a project. Community members anonymously write about private turning points. Maya contributes under a pseudonym, describing a woman consumed by justice who learns mercy too late. When she later catalogs the book, she doesn't mark which story is hers. In sleep, she returns to the pier where she almost disappeared. The sea is calm now. A younger version of herself stands nearby, holding the truth notebook. Instead of drowning it, the girl opens it, and every page is blank. Maya wakes up smiling. An alert from an old email account surfaces, an unread message titled, "I forgive you." Instead of opening it, she deletes it. She no longer needs external absolution. Forgiveness has become an internal choice, not a transaction. A filmmaker releases a documentary about the viral scandal years later. Maya watches anonymously from her apartment. The narrative is full of errors, dramatized half-truths. She laughs softly, realizing it no longer matters. Memory has finally lost its teeth. She begins mentoring teens at the library, helping them understand digital permanence and empathy. One girl asks, "So is truth dangerous?" Maya answers, "Only when we forget it belongs to people, not platforms." The line becomes her quiet legacy. On a spring morning, she walks through the same park she once watched from her window. Children play, strangers smile, life continues indifferent to her story. She feels joy without reason, simple existence unmeasured, unrecorded, undescribed. Maya opens the end of noise notebook and writes her last line. Silence isn't the absence of sound. It's the end of echo. She closes the notebook, places it on the shelf among countless unnamed books, and walks out into sunlight, no longer haunted, simply alive.